welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about another paranormal experience that I had. Back when I was little, not too little, I want to say I was in my teens, I used to explore my neighborhood when I was younger. This was in high school. I started acting not smart, so naturally I would just leave the house and do things that weren't very smart, which I'm sure a lot of us naturally did. However, I was that loner kid, so naturally I didn't have friends to go and explore with and do things and get invited, have sleepovers. On this particular night, I was exploring the neighborhood, and I was used to doing this. I used to do this all the time. I would get up at I would sneak out at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. Weekday, weekend, it didn't matter. I would go out. I used to just explore. The idea of eyes not looking at me and just being able to do what I want outside and just walk wherever, hop fences, just stare at the stars, listen to nature and whatnot, be one of the night creatures. It was just my thing. I thought I was Catwoman. Even though I'm sure somebody saw me, they're like, what is that dumbass doing? Mm-hmm. It was quiet. You just hear screeches of birds or how do you say, the bats floating over, getting bugs and whatnot. And it was so cool. I loved it so much for me because weird kid. Anyways, I'll listen to music sometimes. I take my little MP3 player. Yes, that's a thing still. Listen to my music, just get in the vibe and feel it and stay out for hours. Most of the time it would feel really calm and chill. Occasionally you'd see cars coming off in the distance. And I lived out in the sticks, so naturally ain't nobody out there except me and late night other pothead kids going out to smoke some fucking joints and a blunt or two. This night was different. I noticed from the get-go, once I got into the street and I was walking around, even when I just left the house, it was different. It didn't feel right. I was like, maybe I should stay home tonight. But I was wide awake. I had all the energy. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna go out. Maybe I'll run to one of my neighborhood friends that I had. One of them, and I say one of them because he was the only one I had. Anyways, obviously I didn't run to this person. I would text them on my phone, my little Nokia, little brick, and they didn't answer, so I just kept walking. Well, I kept walking and went down several streets, walked back, went down some more, didn't see anything, didn't see nobody, nothing was happening, and I was like, it's weirdly quiet out tonight. I don't know what this is all about. So, obviously, I decided to just say, fuck it, I'm gonna go home, try and get some rest, because I do gotta go to school tomorrow. So I did. So I started heading home, hopped the fence, went back onto my yard and whatnot, to the backyard, which I usually did. And it was humid that night. And then it occurred. I thought to myself, why can't I hear any, dogs barking in the distance? Can I hear the crowds of coyotes in the distance, the little packs that they had out there? And it was really strange, but it didn't click until I noticed I can't hear bats or birds, like I said before. And to some people, you're like, okay, you didn't spook any birds that weren't there at the time. But I always heard bats specifically, little screeches, that little screeching noise they make. And I say this because there was always bats at this lamppost at my neighbor's yard that he had. And it was always flying by, snatching moths and other bugs that are attracted to the light. Well, that was alert number 1. Alert number 2 was someone watching me. You know when your hair stands up on edge and whatnot, and you get that feeling of, ugh. Well, I got that feeling when I was in my own yard. Not when I was outside of my yard. In my yard. In the back. And we had lived on 3 acres. My parents lived on 3 acres. And so naturally, that was a big thing because my mother plants trees and big bushes, and she has a massive garden that's filled with brush and weeds, and it gets overrun because it's hard to grow shit out there, so naturally just grass and crap grows. Well, anyways, it was really weird because my instinct was someone's watching you, hide. And I thought to myself, fuck, maybe my parents see me. I'm like, it's obvious, my parents have to see me, because who else would be watching me? My neighbors don't stay up that late. So I book it. It's about 10 feet to my mother's garden, and it's thick with bush and grass. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it. I bolted. And I get to the back corner of my mother's garden, and I'm hiding. And I'm like, looking around, I'm like, who sees me? I'm trying to scan to see into my back porch. Nobody's there. I'm trying to see if, like, the blinds are opening to the back windows for anybody watching out. They look perfectly normal. I don't see any movement. And I'm like, so what's watching me? And then I'm like, maybe it's nothing, but I keep feeling it. And I'm like, look around. And then I look to my left, and I look across my backyard to the left, against the fence. And I see a figure. Is that someone there? And I'm like, who the fuck is on the other side of the fence? I'm like, is someone else also exploring? And if so, am I gonna have to avoid them so they don't bother me? And I noticed that they're looking that way, like towards the front of the yard. And it's weird, and obviously it freaked me out, because I'm like, who the fuck? Because I've never seen anybody before out walking aside from me and maybe my friend, but that's when we're chilling together. So I'm looking and I'm like, this is weird. But then I pay attention closely. He's not, how do you say, doing anything else. Like, his arms aren't moving. He's not looking on his phone. If he had one, he's not trying to smoke a cigarette or anything. He's just there against the fence that's around our yard. And I'm like, that's so fucking creepy. And so then I'm like, maybe I need to get inside before it's somebody dangerous or some shit. So then I creep a little farther, and then I just get this feeling. Like I don't even know. It's humid. So I don't feel cold or anything like that. So I'm just like, this is so weird. This person's probably staring at me. Maybe they're staring. Maybe they notice me. I don't know. So then I take another peek at this person. And I'm like, I moved like maybe like 2 feet. And I keep staring so hard at this figure. And they're just there. But something was weird. I couldn't focus enough on them to where I could see any features, like did they have a mustache, were they wearing pants, what kind of shirt they were wearing. I just saw a figure. But this figure was vibrating. And I'm like, huh? And it looked like, frankly, it looked like something out of a nightmare. And it was just vibrating, but really fast. And it was just staying still, but vibrating in the same spot. And it freaked me out. And this person was watching the front yard still. And so then I creeped a little more, and the next thing you know, I see its head go from this to facing me. And I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, this thing saw me. And so I book it. I book it hard. I book it towards my back porch. I run past my mother's garden, and I run. And so I'm running, and I run towards the back porch. I get inside, and I slam the gate closed, and I peer through. And I don't see this person anymore at the fence. So I'm like peeking through, and I'm like, he's not at the fence anymore. So then I'm like, shit, where'd he go? So I'm looking, and I'm looking at my yard. I'm like, maybe he saw me. He didn't see me, and I'm looking. I don't see anything. Next thing you know, I look in the area when I was hiding at the garden, and I see something moving, and I look, and from my angle, from where I was facing, I'm like facing the opposite way now to where I was. And I see, not at the spot, but a little farther inside my mother's garden, I see someone standing there. And I'm like, how the fuck did this person get from one side of my parents' yard inside the garden that fast? This person could not have gotten from one side of my parents' yard inside the garden, which was fenced off, and there was only one way inside through a little door inside their garden. But this person was in my mother's garden. And I'm like, oh shit, who the fuck is this? Oh shit, he's there. And the reason why I say it's a he was because this person was bald from the little silhouette I saw of this person. And I'm paying attention closely and watching this thing. I notice this person is still vibrating, just shaking. And I'm like, what is this? But it's so weird because this thing didn't cast a shadow from the light posts where you see the bats from the backyard this way. He wasn't casting a shadow or anything. He was just there. And the eerie part about this was, I was watching this person and it like fidgeted closer to the spot where I was at hiding originally, and it made it by it. But it was weird because I blinked and I was like, I don't see a shadow, and I was looking around, then I looked back and it wasn't there anymore. It was there at the spot that I was hiding. I saw this thing facing the back way, and the next thing you know, it turned its head sideways. And this is gonna sound really stupid, but he had these little fucking horns, like these little fucking thingies, like right in the front, like something out of an old school devil creation, but he had horns. And naturally I'd be like, those look dumb, but to me this person was bald and had horns, and I saw them, and this person was vibrating, and I went, huh? That's what I said. Only thing I said. I went, huh? As I was staring at them and I saw its head turn and saw the horns, I was like, huh? When I tell you this thing turned towards me so fast, I didn't even see its head turn, to be honest. I just saw it go. Like 1 second, it was this way. And I'm like, oh no. Oh, fuck no. And I was in high school, and I was experimenting with Wicca. I was like, oh shit, this thing sees me, it's gonna attack me, it's gonna hurt me, what do I do? And I'm like, instinct number 1 is do something. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna charge it. So then I start chanting some incantation that I could make up in my head. And I thought, okay, power of 3 times 3, blah 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 blah, protect me. Power of 3, blah 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 blah, protect me, blah 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 blah. And this thing just kept watching me as I was saying this chant. And like, power of 3, da 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 da, protect me, da da da. And next thing you know, this thing starts fidgeting back and forth in between those two spots. Between where it was originally, to where I was, to back to why originally I saw it. And it was still vibrating. And I'm like, fuck this, I'm going inside, which is what I really should have done. So I go inside as quietly as I can, but as quickly as I can too. Get inside, lock the door, run inside. In my head, I'm like still chanting and whatnot. I get undressed, I get my night clothes, I get in bed, and I'm just like, holy shit, this is fucked up. I don't know what the hell that was. It was like vibrating, it was dark as fuck, and I don't know what it was, and it was freaking me out, because I'm like, this is something that I can still feel in my yard from inside my house. And I'm like, hopefully it doesn't follow me inside. I don't want it to follow me. Please don't follow me. And then I'm like, oh shit, my back window, or my window in my bedroom, is facing the backyard. This thing could just look into my window, but I had curtains and I had mini blinds. I didn't want to deal with it, so I'm like, you know what, if it gets me, it gets me. If not, I'm not dealing with this thing. So I rolled over, I closed my eyes, and I'm like, I'm not trying to see this. But this thing freaked me out like nobody's business. I've never seen anything like this before. People might say it's a shadow person. I've never heard of a shadow person vibrating. I've never heard of a shadow person having fucking horns on its head, like little tiny horns. I don't know what it was. I told my dad about it, and he's just like, oh. And I'm like, okay, thanks. I guess he doesn't want to deal with that. But other than that, I don't know what that was. I've never seen it again. Honestly, I don't want to see it again because that thing looked eerie and gross as fuck. I might try and put a picture that I might have drawn. That was a creepy night, and I can say that about 2 months later, I finally went out again. But for 2 months, I didn't want to go outside. I didn't want to do anything with outside the nighttime. I don't know what was out there. If it was still out there, what it was, if it was trying to attach to me, if it was just wandering spirit or something. But I said no for 2 months. Thank you. Goodbye. Oh my goodness. It's just gross thinking about this vibrating, just fucking shadow creatures staring at you. Well, that's all I have for you today for this story. If you guys have seen anything like this, if y'all have stories of seeing like a vibrating shadow figure with fucking little horns, or even if y'all have paranormal stories, let me know. Cause this one messed me up for a little bit. Cause I was in high school, and you're already going through hormonal stages, and then seeing that shit is just too much for me, and I'm not trying to deal with that. I wasn't trying to deal with that. No, it's just too much for me. You know, you say when you're younger, oh my god, I'd love to go into fantasy realm and whatnot. It's like, but until you see something really fucked up like that, like supernatural and creepy, you're kind of like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you guys for listening. I'm gonna come back on here again with some more. However, for today, this is all I got for you. I think I might try and do some more stories. Hey guys, sorry about that. My stupid ass camera decided to shut off. But thank you for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. And again, let me know if you have had any paranormal experiences of your own, and let me know if you want to see anything else. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye.